Welcome, everybody. I believe this is call 174. And the topic for today is who do you admire most and why? You know, before we get going on that, what we're going to do is we'll have the people introduce themselves because, as our good world class coach here, Brian K. McNeill, says, you know, he does get paid for being here. He learns something from each and every one of the people here on the call, which is true. There's so much great information shared. So for those of you that watch the replay, you know, reach out to these people. They all have some great wisdom and everything else to share. And what we'll do is go through and have the people introduce themselves, where they're from and what they're looking for today, and go from there. Pat, you were first, followed by Mary.
When I first saw the topic today, it reminded me of the old song, "The Day the Music Died." Do you remember that one, anybody? And
Yep.
and it was the three men I admire most: the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And it then would go on and on from there. But yeah, that's what I thought of. Obviously, that's not the person I admire most. I do he's the king, but as far as what we're talking about, it's going to be business and entrepreneurship. But hello, everybody. I am Pat Dreyer, and I'm in Arizona in the United States. And I show people how to make money. And I use the leverage of network marketing and a company called My Daily Choice to build my own business. And we just show people how to build a business as a consumer. So imagine your life better than it is now just by taking 3 simple steps. You join the company, you buy some product that you're already purchasing elsewhere, and you show others how to do what you just did. Now, you can work from home building your own business, and you can have the freedom to create a life that you love. And that's it. And once you learn the skills that we're going to teach you, you never have to work for someone else ever again. And that's why so many of us got into network marketing. It's just a lot of people doing a little bit. And I'm looking for a partner. And if that's you, I'm going to show you how to get started for free, help you get fast results. I invite you to join us today. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Pat. Mary, the rose amongst a bunch of thorns.
Oh, and we are the thorns today, huh?
And she definitely is the rose.
Thank you. So I'm not coming here today to talk about my work in the neurodiverse field. What I'm talking about today is the live talk radio shows that I help produce on our network, and it's called Optimize My Life. And we're launching 2 special series of shows. One will be for next week, and it's all about 9/11. You don't have to be a survivor of 9/11. We want to hear your stories of where you were, what you remember, how that changed your life for the better, or could be some people for the worse. But we're not educating our children in the school systems on what happened on 9/11. It's our modern day Pearl Harbor. So there'll be a link in the chat for you to schedule a day, and it'll be launched on not only our radio show, but it'll be on our YouTube channel and on Facebook Live. And the other thing coming up in about 2 weeks we'll be the first to create a whole set of series of shows called, hang on one second, I forgot the name because we just finished it, Building Bridges. And it's the first of its kind. All the shows coming up will be by neurodivergent individuals for neurodivergent individuals. It's all about individuals with autism, ADHD, special needs, PTSD, post-war syndrome, and it's all about uplifting, hearing their stories, but also giving them a platform to advocate so that they can make changes for the future generations and what life is going through.
Excellent. Are you going to allow the old folks in to talk about their stories too?
Of course.
There you go. I'm sure we could likely find you a few of those too.
I want all stories.
There's a lot of us that have survived stuff that hasn't been the best or what have you, but hey, there's all things we can share. Thanks for that, Mary. Brian, followed by Alan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian K. McNeill, and what I do is I help people with one of the most critical skills for the navigation of their lives. One of the most critical skills in helping them to successfully communicate, have relationships, and earn money. and that's the skill of selling. In one of my books, the classic book 932, the 9 most important words, the 3 most important skills, and the 2 most important questions. Of the 3 most important skills, the ability to communicate, the ability to lead, and the ability to sell, I have picked up the mantle of teaching people how to sell themselves, which they often forget, and their services better than they ever have before so that they can earn more money. That's how I engage my life. I do it through my workshops, my webinars, my talks from a platform, or through my books. And I've actually written 7 of them. But all of our lives, it boils down to when we get into a tight or a pinch, it gets into what do we have to sell, or how to rescue a country when they have to raise money. We have to help families. We have to raise money. What do we sell? I just think it's the most critical skill that's not respected nearly enough. And I'll get into it later on, but even just as late as yesterday, I'm trying to help people to understand that that sleazy, slimy salesperson that you haven't even met in your own life, haven't talked to in 10, 20 years, is gone. Today's salesperson has to be the most honest and knowledgeable and clearly communicative person available. So I'm spending my life, and I think I'm going to ramp up the mission of dispelling the negative image people have about selling and salespeople. Brian K. McNeill, the sales confidence coach.
Brian, on your podcast, do you have guests come in or?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What's the criteria for a person to become a guest on your show?
They have to have a skill set that I know and respect, like you do, John. If you want to be a guest, you'd be a phenomenal guest. And you have to, I have to have my wife communicate with them. You got to go through Lisa, okay? But she'll take any recommendation I say. But what she does is she sends I don't know, a little. You have to register to be a speaker, and you have to find a calendar. She has a few questions that she asks. So, if there's any one of you guys, I apologize for not mentioning it before because I think you guys are phenomenal. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, you can. Just give me your email. I'll send it to Lisa and tell her that I want you as a guest. Lisa's my wife, okay, but she runs that.
Let her know I'm interested in being a guest on your show, sir.
And I think I have your email as well, John, but just in case, make sure I get it, please.
Will do, sir. Mm-hmm. Alan?
Hi, John. Hi, everybody. I'm Alan Edwards from Hampshire in the UK. And you know how you see buildings that are unused or underused? They may be in your neighborhood or in your high street. With the change in shopping habits and the change in work practices, many offices are unused, empty. Well, we take those buildings and we convert them into high quality residential dwellings. So essentially, we create wealth. And with that wealth, we pay property owners well for their buildings that they don't any longer need, which may be costing them money to actually stand empty. And we create wealth for profit for investors who may be interested to invest in this sort of process. So I've been doing this sort of thing all my life. And essentially, I'll leave my contact details in the box below if you're interested in getting rid of a problem building, or if you're interested in making money from property investment, then give me a call. Cheers for now.
And you don't just do in England, right? You do in other areas?
I have worked all over the world, basically, and we've got a company, an associated company that's based in Europe. So what that means is we can operate in all the 28 countries of the European Union. We can also operate beyond there as well. So the last country I was in was Macedonia, which wasn't actually in the EU at the time, although they're applying to go into the EU. So yeah, essentially we're flexible, and we've got contacts in different parts of the world. So yeah, we've got a lot of investment contacts, and we can make sure you get a safe, secure return on your investment if you're interested in investing in different countries.
Have you got any interest in coming to North America, Alan?
I do, yes, yeah, because my son lives in America. He's a US citizen, and he's in Missouri. So I do plan at some point to venture into America.
You know,
But you're right.
there, there's a lot of buildings sitting empty here that could really use your help and guidance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we do. So essentially, I'll talk with him about this sort of thing. I've mentioned it before, but you know, we haven't actively taken any steps because he's employed in a company, and you know, he's bringing up a family, so he needs security of income and so on. But yeah, I'm up for that, and I'm working with people who would support me to achieve that. I don't work alone. I've got a network which would support me worldwide as well.
Alan, I just think your business is so unique. I mean, there might be other companies that or people that do what you do, but I can't ever remember anybody ever talking about it the way you do. Um, those office buildings that are costing them money. I mean,
Yes.
and every city, that's what I was thinking in your city right there, you probably got tons of opportunity. But
Yeah.
every city, there's tons of opportunities to convert
Yeah.
buildings into residences.
You're absolutely right, Brian. And this building I'm just completing on this week, it's costing the owner £10,000 or $12,000 a year just to keep empty, and he can't let it because nobody wants it as an office anymore. So
that would be ideal for condominiums or something.
Yeah, we got the permission, and we're going ahead. We're going to convert that into 5 flats. And then with the building next door, we're acquiring that. We're going to do another 4 flats there. Then the building the other side, we're going to acquire that, and that will be another 17 flats in all. So it'll be 26 in all from 3 adjacent buildings quite near to where I live.
And housing is a shortage in America right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a shortage here as well. So definitely there's more need for this sort of service. And yeah, I can certainly see myself and my colleagues, you know, when we're ready, actually making a step into the US.
Now, there's a lot of schools that are empty around here.
Right.
And
go ahead.
You know, there's school just up the road from us, beautiful school. It was a K to grade 8, and there's one, the caretaker's the only one living in it.
Right. I'm astonished. Yeah. But yeah, there's a definite need for housing everywhere. You hear about it all the time. US, UK, Australia, in Europe, there are always housing shortages, and you know, there are buildings there that are suitable to be converted. So we can do that.
I know we're still doing the intros, but if you could think of a way for someone here to make money with your ideas, okay, and your help, like if you could think of a way for me to make money with it, without being a real estate agent.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, Brian.
Okay, cool.
Because you know, I value your advice, and you coached me already with the presentation of what I do. So
okay,
let's do something.
Do you work for like veterans housing or with organizations that are looking to build for housing and taking those buildings for homeless veterans?
Yeah, we can do that. We're considering selling this current development to what's called in the UK supported housing. So it could be people who are disabled or have other disabilities, and they require housing. You know, there's no part of society we don't work with. Essentially, veterans organizations are great. You know, I've got a lot of respect for any veterans, and I know that you know, it's something that we can do, and you know, it would be a pleasure to do it. So yes, yeah. I don't know specifically if you got something in mind, Mary, but
I've got about 4 companies that are looking for properties all over the world, not just here in the US, but for these specifically, what they do is build convert old buildings into veterans housing.
Yeah. Well, that's just the sort of thing we do. So yeah, if you let me know what sort of thing you're looking for, and I'll see if I can solve.
I will send you an email with their information and connect you with them.
Of course, so I'll put all the information in the chat box now.
Please do.
Yes.
Good morning, Bonnie. Nice to see your smiling face. We're just talking about what we do. So if you could be so kind as to let these wonderful people know what you do and who you're looking for and all that good stuff.
Good morning, Don. Yeah, it's good to be back. Kiddos went back to school a couple weeks ago, so we're back in school schedule. Yeah, so my name's Bonnie. I'm in Pennsylvania, USA, and I work in the financial education space for a full service financial firm. And we do everything from teaching people the basics about how money works, what we should have learned in high school and didn't, from budgeting all the way up to more complicated investing techniques. And so that's me and what I do in a nutshell. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Bonnie. Mark?
I'm a wealth making opportunities educator based in New Zealand and founder of the Strangers Community, not for profit. We help people monetize their YouTube channels. We help them with VA services. The Strangers Community is your generational administration and wellness wealth making partner. So we have a long-term thinking, and yeah, that's what we do. We're helping people to build their businesses.
Great. Thanks, Mark. I'm John D. Allen, Allen Small Business Coaching. I specialize in mentoring financial planners and coaches on how to solve the three biggest problems that they have. One, how to get their prospects' real problem and have them own it. Two, how to end the chasing game once and for all. Three, how they can double their business in 180 days or less. So, like everybody to put their information in the chat so that those watching the replay can see it. Just before we get to our topic of discussion here today, which is who do you admire most and why? Got some apologies from Glenda. I can't even think of her last name. He's tied up and can't make it here, Kroll. And we got Santa and his wife, Janet, that they can't be here today. They've got business there going. And we got a lot of other great people that are normally here supporting us, but for whatever reasons, they're not available today. So what I'd like to do is have a roundtable discussion. Anybody can jump in at any time on who do you admire most and why. The floor is open.
Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, well, the person I admire most is my wife. We've been married for over 40 years, and she is, without a doubt, the person who built our family and the glue that keeps it together, period. So that's the person that I admire most, but that's not what we're here for today. This is more about business and entrepreneurship. So the people I admire are the people who are considered kind of different, even weird, right? Someone who doesn't care about what others think of them. Someone who wants the best, not just for themselves, but for everyone, like the people in this group. You work hard, you're accountable, you're not victims of anything. You always give it your best, and regardless of the results, you live to fight another day. And that's who I admire.
Awesome.
Thanks,
I would like to submit, because I think it's a great question. And the reason why it's a great question, because I think it says a lot about who we are as a person. But the person I admire most is Muhammad Ali. Now, I've read every book on him that I could get my hands on. I've watched every documentary, and I know he was a flawed man. But one of the reasons why I admire him the most is he was a man of conviction. He had a principle. He lived his life by principle, and he stuck to it, even though it cost him. It cost him 3 of his prime years in boxing for refusing to go against his religious beliefs and go fight in Vietnam. That cost him dearly, and that raised his esteem. And also his concept of claiming he was the best before he knew that he was. He said it, he spoke it into existence, and how he took God with him into his battles. When he looked at fighting against George Foreman's bigger than you, stronger than you. But we look at, I'm going to go fight George Foreman, me and my God. Now George Foreman is small. Those kind of concepts of taking your God with you into all of your battles, sticking to something that matters, a principle. I admire that greatly. And he did it publicly. You know, for a while, he was one of the most hated people in the country before he became one of the most beloved. So I admire people who can stick to a conviction.
Thanks, Brad. Bonnie, I know you've got some great people that you care about and admire.
Yeah, gosh, you said one, and now my head is spinning because I don't know. There have been so many people just in the past couple of years that have supported me and helped me, and I don't know if I can pinpoint just one. I'm gonna say this, and it's probably out of the box. It is I admire the person that I'm becoming. I have come a really, really long way, and to even say that out loud is difficult for me. But I've worked my ass off to get to where I am now and fought battles people are not even aware of. And I can't wait to get to the version of me that's going to be able to do the same for a whole group of people. That helped me get where I am. John, you're one of them. We've sat for hours talking about business concepts, and just really when I was struggling through some of my most difficult moments over the past couple of years, I've been very, very blessed to have people see me for where I was going and what my potential is versus where I was kind of stuck at the moment. And so there's a whole group of people, and I could name a list of them. And I'm just going to try not to tear up because it definitely makes me emotional, just how blessed I've been. Some of those people I'll name, Gary Vaynerchuk was one of the very first entrepreneurs I ever got to meet in person. Evan Carmichael, Lisa Nichols, my business partner and mentor, David Meltzer, my other business partner and mentor, Marshall Falk. So I've definitely had just an incredible group. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Peter inviting me into this group many, many years ago, losing touch and then meeting again. Helped bring me out of my shell and out of my comfort zone, and just gave me a space to speak just as me, right? So I admire each and every one of you as well, showing up here. I see some of these guys have been here week after week after week, and that takes some dedication. So I admire you all as well. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Bonnie. Mary.
Oh, I've got a couple. First one is my daughter, and one I wouldn't have a business without her, but she's sensory autism. And so when she was in kindergarten, she couldn't find a group in her school to join so she could be included. So what she ended up doing is creating her own program called the Kindness Club for Kids. And now it's in every school in her. She goes through Connections Academy. So they've actually adopted that program, and it's in all those schools throughout the country. And she is talking to other people, and now they're spreading it throughout different schools. And the other person I admire is you guys. I mean, Pat and John, I've known you for 5 years now, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys and Fred when I first started out, and I didn't know how to use social media. I didn't know how to explain what I was doing. And you guys have helped tweak and help me do what I needed to do to get to where I am today.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. We're here to share, and this is one thing I said before. You don't know who we know or how somebody can help you here. And we're not here to just sell you. We're here to help.
Mhm.
Reach out.
That's it. I was working in the Australia thanks to you guys and Fred long before I could break into the US market, which wouldn't have happened if you guys, didn't help me along the way, because I had no idea how to do anything electronic wise. I was just getting out of the military. This stuff didn't exist back in the day.
There's my computer.
I drive my husband nuts because I'm literally a binders person. So like everything I do is on paper first, computer second.
I saw your hand up, Alan. What you got?
Hi, thanks, Brian. Yeah, I seem to have lost the ability to raise my hand on my computer, so don't know what's
Okay.
happened. All I was going to say was just share somebody who I admire, and it's probably no one who you know. It's a guy called Simon Wright, who I used to work for, and he was a very influential person. He actually led the group that delivered the infrastructure for the London 2012 Olympics. So this involved a whole host of coordination with different landowners and contractors, railway companies, and he did a successful job of that. I admired him because he never ever raised his voice, but he was able to influence large groups of people to do what needed to be done. He had some skills, sales skills that you were talking about, Brian, but they weren't overtly sales skills. These were influencing skills, so that he got people to do what needed to be done. Sometimes they had to reach compromises amongst themselves, and so for me, sales is definitely a skill that everyone needs to have. Probably something I don't have much of, but I admired this guy who was able to influence so many people, thousands of people, to actually achieve this goal of getting the Olympics ready by 2012 without the usual sort of mess ups of delays and cost overruns and so on. So that's my little 5 minutes worth. Cheers.
The interesting part is, we all know and admire people from a lot of different backgrounds, and there's a lot of unsung heroes out there that have done so much that nobody even realizes what these people have done or accomplished. So thanks for sharing that, Alan.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, look, I'm impressed with what my daughter's been through and what she's achieving. It's actually her 33rd birthday today too. And
Happy birthday to your daughter.
yeah, well, it's only just started, right? It's just after midnight, so we'll catch up with her later after a sleep. But it's today, yeah. And thank you, Brian. But so, yeah, and you entrepreneurs for sure. That's why I turn up here. I really, you guys inspire me. Other community and community leaders that have started what they're doing too, spiritual, raising the vibration of people and the planet, sort of thing. Part of what I believe in too. Helping people to grow themselves. It's a big focus of what I really want to do. As for I really admire Elon Musk. I like what he's doing, actually. I think he's doing a lot for humanity in the long run with a lot of the projects that he's got going. And I think you need more people like him, big visionaries. So yeah, that's me, guys.
Mark,
Thanks,
today can I say, I hadn't heard you say before when you introduced yourself today. You might have said it before, but I hadn't heard you say it before. You help people to optimize their YouTube. And I think that's an important thing. I hadn't heard you mention it before till today. So, but I think that's something that a lot of us entrepreneurs, especially content creators, need,
Video, right? It's all about your story, and video talking about your story is the most powerful, I believe. And so yeah, I realized how important it was to talk about your vision and your mission, and obviously your sales. I got into monetizing, and I've been monetizing channels for a year now for other people so that I could help them. And it's actually so that I can help all the charity leaders tell their visions and missions. So and other people, wellness experts and things like that, they can talk about. I've created a channel for our strangers community, our charity, so people can start talking about how they're going to help others and stuff. And I've talked with Mary about this, and we're going to have Mary on there, and that shortly. I just paid to upgrade my internet, and it freaked me out before because it was the first issue that I had, and I had to leave. And since I upgraded it about a month ago, so it was a little bit of a shock. But yeah, that's part of why I've lifted my internet. But anyway, there's someone else.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark. The person I admire most, both personally and professionally, is my father. You know, he was an incredible businessman, and he wasn't like me. He never hollered and screamed if he got mad. His voice went down. When I was young growing up, I was working a minimum wage job and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. He said to me one day, he said, I pay more in income tax than you make. So that ticked me off. And I said, I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to show him. I went into construction and I was making really good money. And I come home one day and I said to him, I make more money than you pay in income tax. I got my chest all puffed out, being big and smart. Looked at me and he said, great. Now learn to work with your head instead of your hands. Blew the hell right out of my ego when he said that. But it was also one of the biggest lessons he gave me, because that's when I got into corporate and started doing it. One of the lessons he taught me when in dealing with corporate, of course, sometimes you have the unfavorable job of having to discipline or fire people. And I was having a real challenge had a couple people that had to be terminated, and I wasn't sure how to do it. So I called him up and said to him, what do I do? And he said, here's one of the biggest lessons he learned. He said, sit that person down and say, what would you do if you were in my shoes? He said, a lot of times the punishment they pick out will be worse than what you were going to do. He said, so you can tell them, like, I'll pick on you for a sec, Brian. Gee, Brian, that's pretty severe. Why don't we do it this way instead? And he said, what happens then is people will, respect you because, wow, you gave him another chance and you didn't come down on him. And he was the city superintendent with a lot of union employees under him and having to deal with a bunch of crap. So that made him really popular with the other thing. The other thing he said, if you have to fire somebody, look at them and say, your wish has just been granted. If they come up and said they should fire me, I actually used that. I had one of the gentlemen that was working with me, he royally screwed up. And he come in and I said to him, what would you do if you were in my shoes? He said, look you straight in the face and said, you're fired. I looked at this gentleman and I said, your wish has just been granted.
Yeah. It's called giving them the chair. Paint the scene and imagine them switching chairs. And then what would you do if you were in my chair? And most of the time, they'll come up with a punishment worse than what you would have.
Yeah. This guy, when he walked out and he said to my helper, my provincial scheduler, he says, I think I just fired myself. My buddy looked at him and he said, you did. And, he walked out shaking his head. He knew he'd royally screwed up and he was going to get canned. But he walked out, he said, after I saw him, he says, I never expected to fire myself. I said, what'd you learn from it? He said, if you're going to, the guy's going to ask you what you want to do, he said, think hard on it before you answer. Because he said, your wish, you may get what you asked for. I said, you got it. You were going to get it either way, but you chose it. It wasn't me that picked it out. It was you.
Yeah, and they already proved that they don't want to be there, and they're actually a disservice to the company and the people around them. So it's more of a duty to clean house like that and get that negative environment out of there.
It does. And, that whole ripple effect went through, like there was a lot of employees all of a sudden heard what happened and got, their respect for me went up because I didn't just jump all over this guy. But the other part was they realized that if you screwed up, you could get fired. And because it was a union company, a lot of them were, you can't fire me. Well, yeah, you can. But, there's a little more hassles to it. But nobody's irreplaceable.
People you let go do not cause you problems.
No, they don't.
The ones you let go, not just in business, in relationships too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we've all seen people with toxic relationships and everything else. And people on the outside are looking, saying, how the heck can they be in that relationship? And, there's a lot of great things. Anybody else got anything they want to add here before we end for the day?
Yeah, I've got to leave early, John, so I'm just going to wish my farewell to everyone and see you next week. So thanks
Good
very
seeing
much.
you, Alan.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Alan.
I gotta go as well. And at 8:45, I gotta get out of here. But thank you very much.
All right. Thank you to everybody for coming and really appreciate it. Look forward to talking to everybody next week.
Happy birthday to your daughter, Mark. We'll see y'all.
There's all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all.
Bonnie, are we going to be able to get together anytime soon?
Yeah, I just need your scheduling link.
I'd send it to you. I'll send it down to you again.
Oh, I didn't get it on Facebook.
I sent it down, whatever your email, I think, to Bonnie, whatever. I sent it to your email.
Oh, okay. Let me give you a better email. My email is so small.
Send it to me because I can't copy the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send
chat.
it to you on Facebook.
Can you copy the chat?
Um,
Because if you can't copy the chat, it's gone.
oh, you can hit save chat. Yeah.
So if you can save it and send that to me, you'd be a sweetheart.
Yeah, I can do that for sure. I'll do that now, and then I'll send it with, let me hit it again. I'll send it with my email address. Or it's in there as well, but I'll send it.
Sounds good, ma'am.
All right. See you soon.
You're looking good.
Oh,
You're
thank
looking
you.
good, and it's
Appreciate
nice
it.
to see your smile.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long, long road, but here we are doing well. I have managed to, what? I had 2 people, myself and my ride or die Frank, as of July, as of my birthday. And then my team has exploded. So we're a team of 13 now.
Awesome. Good
in
for
the
you.
last, in the last 6-7 weeks, something like that.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been incredible. So I'm definitely excited to catch up and share all the good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the good, which is nice. So I mean, like I said, I was being honest, like you've seen and heard a lot of what's gone on the last couple of years, and it feels good to be on the other side of all of that, right? It's been a lot.
Congratulations. You're doing good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, but I'll go ahead and send this to you. I have a 9 o'clock as well, so I'm going to hop off of here and get ready for that, and hopefully be able to see you guys every week. I'm going to be late every week because I have to put my kiddo on the bus at 8, but I'm get here as close to 8 as I possibly can.
Join when you can. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye for now.